And now for the sponsor perspective segment of our program. Before we get underway, a quick clarification. While this interview is being conducted by me and the questions are mine, this next portion of the event shouldn't be considered editorial. With that, I'm pleased to be joined by Jacek Olczak, Chief Operating Officer at Philip Morris International. Jacek, great to see you, and great to see each other transatlantically. But I guess my question to you as we start out is, everyone's gone through tough times. I mean, these have been troubled, complicated times. We've had to redo and reorganize this. You have employees and you have clients. Tell us what the top line ways in which your company has adapted, evolved for those that you're interacting with and serving.
Oh, as you know, Philip Morris International operates in more than 100 markets. So, we've got dragged into the situations pretty fast. Already in February, we start, having situations, challenging situations in a number of markets. I think we reacted like, many other corporations. I mean, first and the most important is you really try to protect your people and do whatever you can in order to minimize the risk of, passing the virus, provide the working conditions where those who have to come to the offices or to the factories can really do it with the maximum safety protocols in place. We obviously went to our business partners, retailers. There is many, independent retailers in, most of the countries which, require the specific and special support. It might sound a little bit, uneventful from today's perspective, but at the beginning of the year, we all remember. People were lacking face masks, people were short on sanitizers, people were short of respirators in the hospitals. We put almost our entire supply chain at the service of the public, and whoever was requiring the help would try to provide. But the thing which I am personally the most proud of, that when we see our employees on the individual basis trying to help the people who are living with them or who are living, next to them. My wife, was providing a food purchasing services to all the villagers, living in my village. And there are thousands of examples in places where we live, where we start acting like a human beings, like a proper human beings, which especially this times was very encouraging. So it's a very touchy moment. I wish, we never had to go through this again. But at the end of the day, you see that there is still so much normal human interactions which can take place when people know how to, take care of each other and support each other in this difficult time. So the role of Philip Morris for the company was to facilitate as much as possible that our people, can provide this help, that services. And this is not only about, giving a donations or cutting a check. Is this reactions at the employee individual level when they can demonstrate how strong the human values are in them and how they can act properly is the moment when myself, I take a lot of encouragement from how our people behave at the time.
It's very heartening to hear the human stories in these times of, people trying to do better, people trying to reach out in ways they might not have done before. And I see it across the board as well. I guess another side is perhaps a little more in the sensitive space. I know that you personally, and I've interviewed and talked to many people in your company, feel very committed to this transition in your products from old line classic cigarettes to various e-products, and that there are health issues. And we're in the middle of a global health crisis. Do you think that this puts a turbocharger behind that mission, that part of this question of applying science to the habits we have is something that you feel even more strongly now, your colleagues feel more strongly in the middle of a global pandemic?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We continue to be, highly committed and motivated and enthusiastic that finally we believe bringing the solutions to smoking is so much, within the reach of our hand. I personally think that, in many locations, in many countries, you could solve the problem of smoking in such a short period of time as 10 years. If, everyone is alive. The risk of smoking, let's be very clear, risks of smoking are known to everyone. The best the best advice we can give to people who don't smoke is to, don't start. For those who smoke, they should quit, but they also have to recognize that there are many, many men and women who just won't quit. And here, I think the products from the category of, potentially harm reduced products, which are, significantly reducing the exposure to the toxicants, compounds in the smoke are coming at play. And I think, it's a high time that, many smokers in many countries, including the US, have an access to the information about the product, reliable information, verified. And today, the science and the verification processes are at the level that this we can offer and have an access to the product. I am very pleased that this is a year where, we also received the authorization from Food and Drug Administrations in the US. It's the big achievement for us, and it culminates somehow an important step that is not only about the inventing these products, developing this product, but having a very robust scientific substantiation that these products are better alternative than continuing smoking. But our journey with this product, many people don't know about it, started well under President Obama administration. And, we continued for the Obama administrations, we continued for the President Donald Trump administrations, and we hope we can accelerate with the new administration in Washington.
Right. Let me, since you mentioned next year and you sort of the timeline, I'm going to ask you a tough question. As you look into 2021, and we're on the eve of 2021, what would be doing better for Philip Morris International, and what would you feel like if you got to the end of the year and you hadn't moved the needle on something, what would constitute failure for you?
Well, failure, I would rather describe how the success would look like, and then maybe we can, go and by deduction see how the failure may look like. I am by nature an optimist person. I was born optimist, right? I was always joking that presumably I was the only baby in a hospital who didn't welcome this word with a cry. I was smiling from day one, and I'd rather stay like this. I would like that the fear which so much penetrated us in 2020 is finally disappearing. And there's a fear of myself, of my health, fear of the health of my people who are close to me, of my family, of my employees, of the people with whom I am collaborating, that fear disappears. I think it's a big role for the proper messaging. Hopefully the vaccine is going to penetrate all geographies fast next year, and I hope to see that this fear, which drives this anxiety very often, etc., is finally left behind us. This is how I would like the 2020-21 to finish. It's too much which was put on our shoulders as individuals, as a group of people, and I believe it's really important that we take this this luggage, this very heavy weight from our shoulders, and we all can focus what is very important. I think the crisis also shows us that collaborations, when a parties collaborate, despite the fact that they might have different opinions, different starting points, that through the collaboration, we can really go and solve the very important problems in this world. We know that, to diminish the impact or minimize somehow the impact of the coronavirus, how much collaborations you need from us and the individuals, from the health community, from the scientists, from the pharma companies, you name it. From the logistics companies, from the companies which now will have the biggest challenge, how to deliver these vaccines to so many places in our countries. Everyone has a place to play here, has a role to play here. And I believe in 2021, we will not forget that we could have achieved so many things in 2020 thanks to the collaborations that were not focused on building the bridges, ruining the bridges, demolishing the bridges, but rather building the bridges, despite the fact that we might have at the beginning, what one could say, unreconcilable differences, that we focus with the one objective of agenda, and really we can live in a better world.
Right. Well, Jacek, Olczak, Philip Morris, International Chief Operating Officer. I really appreciate you talking about this because this is a story of resilience, it's a story of adaptation, it's a story of innovation, and that's why we are talking with those people who are doing that, real human stories here today. So thank you for supporting today's program, and thank you for your candid thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.